So in this video, we're looking at Mastercard. So all these payment stocks have not been doing well, including Mastercard, Visa. I think there's Square, PayPal, all these payment stocks. But Mastercard has pretty choppy and pretty unpredictable price action every single day, basically. But what to watch from here and whether it's something you want to own or not, but don't listen to me. I will just give you my perspective, what I'm watching and what do I think the stock can do for the next, maybe for the rest of the year or for the next couple months from here. So on Friday, well, it was doing well, right? Before Friday, it was bouncing nicely right here, hitting 340 resistance. But overall market dropped and Mastercard with it 4.6% drop right back down to the support area of $320 level. So stock, if you look at it from let's take a look at it. Let's zoom in a little bit here. So if you look at the stock's price action, so this is a daily price action, all right? So every candle represents 1 day of price action. Right here you can see that stock was making, well, lower lows, lower lows, lower lows, but at the same time, well, stock is not making lower highs. It was trying to make higher highs. Pretty confusing, right? Stock. So that's why you can use it's maybe the best stock for traders to trade, but I personally don't trade it because premiums are pretty expensive. To say, hey, where do I buy this stock? Well, you can look at the moving averages and look where is it trading, historic. So basically 200-day moving average is basically 1 year of price action where it is. So it's trading below even its 200-day moving average. And 50-day moving average, which is yellow line on my screen, is downtrending, and the 200-day moving average is up here right there. It was acting as a resistance every time it was hitting these levels. All right, every time it bounced to these levels, it didn't hold up more than a day, even here, and it kept acting as a resistance, and that's not a good sign short term. All right, but at the same time, stock was somehow back in August, September, and even maybe October. It was holding these $340 levels until they reported earnings, flushed down, huge pop, and wiped out all this move very, very sharply. So that's not something I like. But let's take a look at the MACD as well. Well, you can use this as a guide whenever you see stock, basically the signal line and the MACD line crossing over each other and going down, trending down. Well, that's a downtrend. Whenever it crosses to the downside, it's a bearish crossover. Whenever you see it to the upside, that's a bullish crossover. So I think some of you already know about that. But where to buy this stock, or what do you do with this stock if you own this stock? Well, let's take a look at bigger time frames. So what is it doing year to date? So I like to pull up yearly chart, and on a yearly chart, if you pull up yearly chart, well, picture looks pretty neat, right? Much better chart, right? Because every candle here represents 1 year of price action. If you look at the daily, pretty messy. So if you're someone who has bought the stock last year and you're holding it this year, and if you bought it in the beginning of the year, well, from year to date, it's basically down 9.8%. So not a lot of a downside, but considering overall market is plus 20% and this stock is minus 10%, well, it's definitely underperforming the market big time this year. So, and for me, basically, that's not good enough of a discount. And if I was holding a stock, I would just buy puts. I would just buy protection until until next year basically and say, hey, if this thing doesn't sort itself out in a couple months, well, I wish to make money on the way down. At the same time, I don't want to sell my shares because I do think that they will sort things out maybe in a long run. So, and from there, well, that's what I'm watching. If you think that the stock can go down, these are the support levels to watch. Well, to the upside, we have already covered that those moving averages are resistance. 340 resistance, 330 is resistance, 320 is a support. To the downside, right below, we have 310 as a support, 312-ish maybe. And then below that, well, that's the support way down here, which is 285. So that's the level I'm watching to the downside for Mastercard. So from its all-time highs, you could say, hey, this stock is already down and these names will bounce soon. Well, let's take a look how much it's down, like compared to other stocks. So it looks like it's about the same as Visa, 19% drop, and it's pretty much on the edge of falling into bear market. So you can pretty much say, hey, if I see this stock fall into bear market, which is more than 20%, and it doesn't recover, well, I would personally stay bearish and just bet to the downside. And from the money I make from betting to the downside, I would add shares at those lower levels. Let's say I short a stock and it goes down below 300. Let's say I buy far outside of the money, $300 put for January, and it goes down all the way till 287 and 285, and I make money from the puts. Well, I sell the puts for profit and buy the shares right there, average down, and at the same time my position would not be down. Like, what is it, let's assume I'm holding only Mastercard, and my position would be not 20% down but 27% down, right, if I only had the shares. But with my puts, well, I can make up for this whole drop and even come out flat, break even, or maybe slightly positive because of short-term insurance that I bought to the downside. Definitely I could be wrong. It could just switch around here and go back up to these levels of a 340, 360, but momentum on a, let's take a look on a weekly. Momentum is pretty much to the downside if you look at it on a weekly chart right here. And this action right here, well, not my cup of tea. I don't like this. And I think a lot of people will get exhausted in this zone if this stock doesn't get back up to these levels. Because people maybe got used to seeing this stock one day negative, another day is positive, and maybe, well, they were fine because their accounts were not down as much. But as soon as this stock starts losing these levels and starts going lower, more people will panic and it will sell off more. So looks like earnings, Q1 earnings is not until, well, they recently reported earnings, but Q4 earnings is not till 27th of January. So I would definitely go for January 22nd puts. If this stock falls below 20%, falls below 320, and market becomes volatile and starts slipping. And if you look at it on a weekly chart as well, well, these are the levels. On a weekly, some people look at the moving averages. I do not, but you can come up with, look at the maybe weekly 200-day moving average, where it bounced in 2020 when we had a flush, almost reached that weekly 200 week moving average. Well, you can do that, but at the time I don't like this chart, and it looks like bearish. And again, not a financial advice, but I think I'll be just more straightforward with what I think, and I don't have a position, so that's what I'm watching. And option market on Friday was not as exciting because volume was very low, 26,000 calls, 21,000 puts. So not much happening. And stock by December, well, let's take a look at January 2022. Stock is implying $40 move. So if it drops $40 from here, it will just go back to these levels that we talked, 288. So that would be somewhere right there. If it drops $40, it would fall into these support levels. And that's how much it's implying by the end of January 2022. It doesn't mean that it's implying drop only. Well, you can pop $40 as well, but it would put you right at that resistance, 360, 365. That's the resistance zone for Mastercard. So didn't want to make it too long, but sorry about that. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.